Kimberly Young here, CPA, accounting professor, and a bit obsessed with helping other people to understand how to become financially free. But remember, with that, that doesn't mean that I'm perfect at finances either. As much as I try to save and invest and plan ahead for my future, there are things that I spend money on that I really shouldn't or I could avoid. So, the big focus here is what my family spends the most discretionary income on, and that is eating out. So, for the last month, I have been very focused on trying to be intentional at cooking and preparing meals, planning them out ahead of time, which that's the worst part for me. And this is the big finale. A month in, let's see how it all turned out. Before I reveal exactly how much money we save this month by being so intentional, I just want to give you a little background to how my family functions. First of all, there are 2 adults and 2 teenagers in our family, so just a family of 4. And we are not the type of people that are going out to super expensive restaurants. In fact, the most expensive restaurant that we went to in the last several months, we had spent $60 there. And the most frustrating thing is that was my least favorite restaurant experience, probably my least favorite meal that I've had over the last several months. So to see that that was our most expensive time going out was extremely frustrating to me. But put all that aside. We also rarely go through drive-throughs. We are not ever getting Uber Eats or anything delivered to our house. We don't go out for a regular coffee drink. So to hear all of that, you would think we can't be spending that much money eating out. But every month when I got our credit card bill, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. We only go out 3 or 4 times a week, and usually it's like $30 or $40. We're going to inexpensive places, and we are not getting drinks or anything along those lines. So how are we spending this much? But it really does pile up. And that's where credit cards can be really risky, is when we're making a bunch of really small purchases and then at the end of the month we're like, whoa. And that's especially dangerous if you can't pay off your credit card in full at the end of the month. So we have to be very careful with those small charges. So while we don't go out and have expensive meals, we do just expect that every Saturday and Sunday we're going to go out to at least one meal for as a family. So that was one thing I was trying to kind of change the norm and say, you know what? We could just go to church and come straight back home and have a meal. But in order to do that, it needs to be something that was already prepared. So one thing that some people are fantastic at, and I never have been, is crock pot meals. But I have been really working towards making crock pot meals so that I would just come home from work or come home from church. And I have to tell you, there is no better feeling than the smell of having a meal ready when you walk in the door after a long day of work. And so having those crock pot meals was fantastic. I didn't do that as often as I maybe should have, but it really helped because there was no way we were going out to eat when I had already prepared the food that morning for that evening. So that was fantastic. That was the best situation that really set myself up for success. But I also try to be very intentional about preparing meals in the morning that everyone would want to eat for breakfast and for lunch. I've always been pretty good at that, but I wanted to be extra intentional about preparing good meals that everybody was excited about. And for me, just not preparing before I go to the grocery store, not making a list of what meals we're going to have and what ingredients I need, that was something that really held me back from, having something great prepared. But this past month, I would have lots of meat and vegetables and things that if we didn't eat at home, those things would go bad. And not only will we be paying for a restaurant, but we will be wasting food that we had at home. So that was very helpful as well. During this process, I thought I was going to have a big setback. And that's when a family member from out of town reached out and said they were coming into town and they wanted to get together with a group of 8 of us family members. Well, the problem is they always want to go to more expensive restaurants than my family would typically eat at. So I was a little bit disappointed because I'm like, this is really going to sabotage this whole eating out thing. And I decided to go ahead and invite all of them over for dinner. I made dinner for $30 when we usually would spend at least $70 after tip going out with these family members. So, with all of that said, after a month of being extremely intentional about cutting back on this one expense item, we were able to spend 50% less on eating out over the last month than we have on average each month for the last year. I am so proud of myself. Thank you. That I'm going to try to continue this path forward because I see how much money I could be saving each year, and I know that can make a big difference in my investing in the future. So a couple of things that I have learned from this that can help me be more successful going forward. One is that I need to start delegating. I already know I really struggle with that because for me, it's just easier to do it myself than to make someone else do it. But if I could train my children to cook more and hold them responsible for that, I know that would help our family be successful because right now the burden of cooking or the choice to go out to eat is all on me. So if I can push that to other people in my household, that will definitely help out. Another thing that we can take away from this is that if we can be very intentional about cutting back our expenses, we can do it. So for you, it may not be eating out, it may be impulse shopping, it could be online gambling. But if you can really set your mind to saving more money, I guarantee that you can find places to do that. It might be hard, but if you set a goal, I'm telling you, it was kind of fun to work towards that over the last month. And I think you'll enjoy it too. Well, it's lunchtime here, and I'm about to consume this delicious salad I just made. So why don't you like and subscribe while I'm chowing down at home?